What is up, guys? Welcome in to yet another edition of Instant Reaction, a spinoff from the Ben Garcia Show, where we react to a game, breaking news, something big happening in the Arizona sports landscape. We are quickly reacting to it. With that being said, we will be reacting to Brian Gregory's introductory press conference today on the Ben Garcia Show, breaking it down from every angle. How did he do? Did he win the press conference? Does it even really matter if he didn't at all? With that being said, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. It's a really great place to interact with me there. I love interacting with my listeners on a daily basis. It's a really good place to be able to get a hold of me there at Ben Garcia Show on all social media platforms, as well as like, share, subscribe this video, and potentially even tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show. All right, that's enough plugging for now. There is a lot to get into with this Brian Gregory press conference, so let's start here. There's a lot of people talking about if winning the press conference actually matters. Well, maybe not in most cases, but when you are as unqualified for this position as Brian Gregory is, then yeah, we get to be a little bit harder on you, and you need to be able to instill some confidence in this franchise at your first introductory press conference where literally no one has heard of you before. High-ranking NBA individuals have no idea who this guy is. And why would they? He's a South Florida head coach. He's a Dayton head coach. He's unqualified for the position. And so there were a couple of things to get into on this edition of Instant Reaction, and let's start here. He talked about his qualifications at the beginning of the press conference, touting his 30 years of basketball experience, and there's a lot of clips that I want to get into on this edition of Instant Reaction. And he started off as well with those qualifications. Gerald Bourguet of PHNX Suns, I believe, who asked the question, said, hey, you know, there are some people that are worried about your qualifications, your ability to do this job. Can you basically instill that confidence? And what are your qualifications for this job? And here's what he said.
As I said, 30 years of basketball experience, 30 plus years of basketball experience, the last two being here in Phoenix. The knowledge and experience, I think, puts me in a good position to be successful in this role. But I think the thing that's going to separate me and give me the opportunity to be very successful and make a positive impact is my focus on building that identity and creating that alignment that Matt talked about a couple weeks ago.
30 years of basketball experience. Here's my answer to that. It doesn't matter how long you've been at a company, you can still be mediocre. And if I'm putting it kindly, Brian Gregory's a mediocre head coach. He wasn't bad in college, but he wasn't great. And acting like he ever was or is or could be down the line, it's not true. It's just not true. 300 wins in college basketball, that's a great accolade to have, not when you're beating Panera Bread State and McDonald's University. As the head coach of Dayton, as the head coach of South Florida, you're not exactly playing Duke every week. Talked about his 2 years of experience with the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, you mean the two most embarrassing years in Suns history? That's where you're getting your qualifications from? Seriously, it was oftentimes in this press conference yesterday where first off, he was a snooze fest. He was really hard to listen to and went on and on about nothing most of the time. It was embarrassing if you're Brian Gregory. It's embarrassing if you're a Suns fan. And touting these touting these qualifications that aren't necessarily qualifications is embarrassing. And so watching him go up there and fib his way through a press conference was tough to watch if you're me. It's not exactly what I wanted to see or instilled in my franchise. Being the head coach of Dayton, being the head coach of South Florida, and having 2 years of experience on the two most disappointing Suns teams ever are not qualifications. And no one prepped him for that question. He didn't want us to talk about his inside or anything else. That was tough to hear. It was like he didn't have any media training, anything else to point to. And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room of that being Matt Ishbia, the person who we're not sure is in charge. We think he is, but we're not sure. But now we definitely know. Yesterday, he talked about Matt Ishbia and his ability to give him the job. You know what pisses me off in this world? Nepotism. And nepotism isn't just your dad is the CEO of a company and that's how you get a job, but that's what it mostly is. Guys, you know how hard I work at this job. Whether you like me or not, you will never question my work ethic. Whether you like my opinions or not, you'll never question, damn, that guy works hard. The number one reason I get passed up for jobs is because someone else has an uncle there. It's just the nature of the business, and it infuriates me. And what infuriates me even more is when people recognize it and kind of just shrug it off their shoulders. You want to recognize it? Sure. Don't shrug it off. Don't act like it's not nothing. And that's what Brian Gregory did yesterday. Nepotism pisses me off. It's one of the reasons why I can't respect Josh Bartlestein ever. Because I'll never be able to know, with or without his dad, would he have actually made it in this business. So with that being said, here's the answer from Brian Gregory when it comes to his relationship with Matt Ishbia and knowing he wouldn't have the job if it weren't for him.
One thing I will say is this: I'm never going to shy away from the fact that one of the reasons I'm sitting up here is because of my relationship with Matt Ishbia. But that relationship is founded on that alignment. Shared values, shared work ethic. We've been through a lot together, and he trusts me and I trust him.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to not force my emotions because this is how I feel. But the nepotism part, of course, it's not just family, it's friends, and that's how he got this job. I'm laughing at the fact that he talked about why him and Ishbia are in lockstep. Building the identity, alignment, built on the same values. He only said two things, and he struggled to come up with a third thing. He couldn't prep himself to explain why he was the best man for the job outside of he knows Matt Ishbia. And that's the number one thing that pisses everyone off. Dude, read the room. Part of being a general manager is reading the room, reading emotions, reading the feelings on people's faces. No one in the room wanted to hear that. And you had a chance to say, well, yes, my relationship to Matt Ishbia did play a role, but that happens everywhere. But it's not just that. It's my ability to build a team, my winning cultures that I've built before, my player development. They want to put a key focus on the draft, and I'm the guy that was in college forever. That would have been 1,000 times better than what he said. Instead, he laughed it off. Like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? My daddy's the GM. My fraternity brother's the owner. That's the kind of taken for granted moment of the press that he did. It was disrespectful. It's not what anyone wanted to hear. He could have mentioned, but he didn't have to make it the whole thing. It was like, I don't even need qualifications because Ishbia gave me the job. And for all the people that are worried about that Ishbia is getting a yes man, I'm here to validate those feelings because they are. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, he's only going to be judged on what he does in the offseason, in the summertime, and exactly how he breaks down this Suns roster. Gets a haul back for KD, potentially. I have zero faith in that at this point. The Devin Booker extension talk, ultimately, he's right. That is how he will be judged. But this was an opportunity to win the press conference. And I know people say, oh, the winning the press conference doesn't matter. Well, sure, for most places, but not all the time. Most of the time, when it comes to winning the press conference, it doesn't matter. But when you are highly unqualified for a position, it matters. Instill some confidence in your fan base, and you failed to do that. Seriously, guys, Brian Gregory seems like a really nice guy, and he's talked about in closed doors. Like, everyone loves that dude. But at the end of the day, he had the personality of someone's 80-year-old grandpa. He talked slow. He didn't talk with confidence. He rambled on and on about nothing. These are serious things that took place. The Suns they look like a joke right now. And this is just the God's honest truth. You want me to lie? You want a fan page? Go somewhere else. I'm here to give you the truth. I sat in there yesterday. It was a tough watch. He lost me after 4 questions. He rambled on and on about nothing. I was like, man, this guy seems like a really nice guy, but I kind of want a bleep hole. I kind of want a GM that's not going to get steamrolled. I want Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge and whoever other general managers call him to make a trade to say, oh man, this guy's going to play some hardball. I got to be ready. No one thinks that. Every GM is licking their chops getting ready to speak to this guy. But who knows? They might not even be speaking to them, because here was his approach on Matt Ishbia being a very hands-on owner.
Matt and I are a team. We are completely aligned. As the general manager, my job and my responsibility is to oversee the day-to-day operations of us basketball-wise. I report to Matt Ishbia. Matt is an owner that is involved, and I like that. But he has also empowered me to build this team and to build the identity and to build the alignment that is so important.
He knew he said the wrong thing, and so he continued on rambling about nonsense to try to make you feel better and kind of bury the lead. And it was actually very hard to find that clip because no one posted it, which was crazy to me. So him mentioning that Matt Ishbia is a very hands-on owner and he likes that is a complete BS. You want to poll 29 other GMs and ask them if they like if their owner is meddling or not, or if they'd rather their owner just sign the checks and leave them alone and let them handle the basketball day-to-day operations and let the owner just be a fan and sign checks. Brian Gregory saying that Matt Ishbia is a hands-on owner and he likes that. You poll 29 other general managers, they all tell you they hate that. You want your owner meddling? Hell no. You want him hovering over your shoulder? Hell no. Every other general manager would say, please just go be a fan and sign the checks and leave the day-to-day basketball operations to me. But now the cat's out of the bag, and Matt Ishbia can't go back on it. He's 100% in on this. Whether you want to debate it or not, he's hands-on. Our GM just said so. That's not a good thing. And Brian Gregory wore it like a badge of honor. Literally every bad thing he could have said or done yesterday, he pretty much emulated that. But it didn't just stop there. He then mentioned Josh Bartlestein, and a guy who has been reported to be out of the Suns' operations when it comes to building a roster. Well, not so fast. Someone forgot to send that report to Brian Gregory. Here's what he had to say on Bartlestein.
I am responsible and accountable for the daily decisions, day in and day out, regarding basketball. Josh is our CEO, all right? He's involved in every aspect of basketball operations, every single aspect of basketball operations. Josh and I have an unbelievable partnership. When you talk guys working together and getting things done, we're right there.
Not only did he say that Bartlestein is a part of the day-to-day operations, he wore it like a badge of honor. He read off his resume. He's got great relationships. Him and I have a great working chemistry. And he didn't realize that was the worst answer he could have gave. And one of the reporters said, what's your guys' relationship like? And he had said tongue-in-cheek, kind of trying to be funny. Josh Bartlestein is apparently a Michigan Wolverines alum, and he's a Michigan State Spartan. He said, and if our working relationship's so good, and it should even tell you as much, because he's a Wolverine and I'm a Spartan, and we work well together. And no one laughed. It was in poor taste. No one cares. If I have to hear about Michigan State one more time, I'm going to lose it. You weren't going to win the room with that joke, man. You just opened up the curtains and pulled everyone's pants down. Now we know exactly what's going on. This is a Matt Ishbia-led operation. Whether you wanted to debate it or not, whether you wanted to talk about it or not, what we learned yesterday is this is a Matt Ishbia-run organization. Brian Gregory is a talking head. He had no personality. He didn't have a presence. He didn't establish any confidence in you that if Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge, and some other GM wanted to talk to him about a trade, they're licking their chops ready to talk to this guy. They know he can be ripped off because he's a nice guy. He's a yes man. And if I want a general manager, I kind of want a bleep hole. And this is the issues. This is where the issue lies. Matt Ishbia talked to us 2 weeks ago about how change needed to be made. No, change didn't really happen. We just have new faces, and it looks a little differently now, cosmetically speaking. Day-to-day operations, absolutely the same. Yesterday was a pitiful attempt at trying to win the media, at trying to win the fan base, and at trying to instill confidence in us. And we thought as well Josh Bartlestein wasn't a part of the equation. That's not true anymore. He said heavily a part of basketball day-to-day operations. In fact, he read off his resume. Oh, he's got great relationships with players. Dude, we don't care. We've been a part of the Josh Bartlestein experience before. Team building. It's terrible. Everything this guy said, it feels like they pulled him out of a closet and just gave him something to read, and they didn't tell him anything else about what happened over the past couple of weeks. We have been lied to and made a mockery of for the last time. This was pitiful to watch. Absolutely pitiful. And I don't know what else there is to say, but I guess I'll say this. It was a 0 out of 10 press conference. I am not defending this guy. He was awful. There was one thing, because I got to be fair, that did spark my interest a little bit. However, it didn't come until the 45-minute mark in this press conference. This press conference went on for 45 minutes because he talked on and on about nothing. Guys, to put it in perspective, how long that actually is, Ishbia talked for 20 minutes. Ishbia talked for 20 minutes 2 weeks ago. James Jones and Josh Bartlestein did their press conference together. They talked for a total combined 10 minutes. This guy rambled on and on about nothing for 45 minutes. Here's the one thing, though, he said. Someone asked about his competitiveness, and the people like me who are doubting him and don't think he's going to be a great general manager, he did speak about his competitiveness, his want to win, and as well as the fact that he will outwork everyone, and that's a trait not everyone has. That did spark my interest. I would have liked 45 minutes of that. And when asked about being doubted, he basically said, okay, doubt me. Doubt me. We'll basically see who comes out on top. That was the only thing that he had said where I was like, well, at least he's not as, completely stagnant as he's been the entire time. But outside of that, guys, I don't mean to be doom and gloom. It's not good for my business. It's not good for the Ben Garcia show if the Suns are bad. But I'm not here to lie to you. Why would you want someone to come up here and say, well, it wasn't great, but by golly, he could be awesome? At the end of the day, when it comes to Brian Gregory, he will ultimately be judged on his decisions. What he gets back in a Kevin Durant trade. Can he get Devin Booker to sign his extension? All those kinds of things. But he had a chance to win the press conference yesterday to instill confidence, and he epically failed. It's the pretest. It doesn't count towards the letter grade. He got an F-, but God, he's so far away from passing the post-test. And so with that being said, I'm not confident. I'm very skeptical in this Suns front office. Maybe even worse than the last one. Probably even worse. Because this feels like a yes man, a talking head, and anyone who felt like that, I'm here to validate your feelings. It was basically true. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Thank you so much for making the Ben Garcia Show a part of your day. And do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps me out a lot. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Tell me your favorite color. Listen, we just need a comment down there. Appreciate you guys making the Ben Garcia Show a part of your day. I am live every morning, 7 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until tomorrow, it's Ben Benston Reaction. And tomorrow, it'll be the Ben Garcia Show.